どちらが勝っても俺たちはもう正義じゃない。それでもやるしかないだろう。
Underrated doesn't mean underwhelming, and some of the hardest hitting anime fights never get their spotlight. While the heavy hitters hog the fame, there's a whole tier of low-key showdowns that go just as hard. These are the most underappreciated new-gen anime fights. And when I say new-gen, I'm counting anime that aired from 2015. Alright, ready? Let's get into the ones you might have missed but won't forget. Starting off the list with a psychotic fight between Boar and Hare from Juni Taisen.
まず哀愁命乞いにて先手を距離のアドバンテージをミス回避玉切れブラノンリロードにより無限射撃爪あとはバラバラの肉から宝石を取り出して終わり。
Now, the best part about this series is the way its characters introduce themselves before their duel. None of us thought that Boar would hit the ground after that kind of intro. She thought she was the baddest in the room, but forgot her opponent was none other than Hare, the psycho. What I absolutely love about this fight is that it started as a duel, but became a psychological ambush. Hare played mind games with her and outclassed her immediately, taunting her into dropping her guard before striking. The trauma in this fight is real.
許してくれるよね。これからは君も僕のお友達なんだから。
Sliding into the underrated tier with cold precision, it's Gabane and Nobimaru versus Yui from Kemono Jihen. And no joke, this one's a sleeper hit packed with emotional weight. Yui isn't your typical tragic villain. He's literally freezing the world around him while trying to hold on to the last shred of his humanity. And then you've got Gabane, the unkillable half-ghoul, teaming up with Nobimaru, the sly fox with zero chill. The dynamic is already wild, which calls for an even wilder battle. Both Gabane and Nobimaru's teamwork led them to their victory. But overall, it was actually a really tragic fight. The animation is clean, but it's Yui's frost effects that really steal the show. I felt the chill in my bones when I saw him using that. Moving on to the series that left us wanting more. I mean, those 3 episodes just weren't enough, were they? I'm talking about Burn the Witch, Bleach's cousin series.
星の道夜の果てホワイトアルバが熱をなすビーズリースライトライト天を仰いでそこで終わりマジックナンバー68スパーナルジェイルよくやったガキどもアンロック来い 3D カーテンこいつは包んだものの一切を逃がさねえ手を殺すぜシンデレラ
This one came in quiet, but this specific fight between Bruno, Nini and Noelle versus Cinderella really needs more attention. Bruno's cold, calculated slashes, Nini's rage-powered fire, and Noelle's deadpan precision all synced into a fight that felt straight out of Bleach, but reimagined for modern magic warfare. And if we talk about the animation, it just slaps hard. The way spells are cast with spray cans, the clean transitions mid-air, the color palette that just glows like neon ink, this fight looked criminally good. Now here's one you probably missed while everyone was busy arguing about isekai power scaling, but the Executioner and her way of life came out with a bang with Menno vs Ashuna, a fight that hits way harder than it had any right to.
いい見切りだ。
See, Ashuna is the kind of princess who solves diplomacy with a great sword, and Menno is this cold and calculated executioner who hides behind a girl who looks like she couldn't hurt a fly. Anyway, when these two girls collide, it's like two completely different ideologies going to war. The animation of this fight scene is way too clean for a show that barely got mainstream love. Menno's attacks are just precise and ruthlessly efficient. In short, it's not just good for this show, it's good, period. The fact that barely anyone talks about this fight scene and even this anime as a whole just baffles me every time. Next up, we have the kind of fight with that blink and you miss it kind of thing going on. This one is when Iroha, Rina, and Kuroe fight against Kaide's doppel.
レナの全力無駄にしないよ。
You see, Kaide's inner grief and guilt have twisted her into a grotesque creature. So when her friends are the ones forced to fight it, the tension is real. Like most battles in this franchise, it's loaded with heartbreak. And the fact that these girls are overcoming their emotional chaos just blows my mind. Visually, it's Madoka Magica at its best. Everything is happening up too close and it literally made my head spin. You'll feel as unbalanced as the girls. Also, whispered voices, warping effects, and a haunting score make it feel like you're in a nightmare you can't wake up from. The audio design deserves its own shout out, and honestly, the fact that it doesn't get talked about more is just straight up disrespectful. We're giving you one of the wildest showdowns in recent anime. The Execution Division Master versus the OG gang. Now, this isn't your average heroes versus authority clash. This is pure chaos between a relentless enforcer and a crew of certified maniacs, all while the world around them spirals into madness. The choreography of this fight is so clean, you'd want to watch it in slow motion. Honestly, it's one of those rare scenes where the vibe is just as strong as the action. Every fighter brought their own flavor to the chaos, making the fight even more dynamic, more vivid, and less generic. The animation stands out thanks to the show's glossy, neon-drenched cyberpunk aesthetic. Even the sound design goes crazy. This fight in Akudama Drive deserves all the flowers and then some more. And if you thought Akudama Drive was crazy, let me introduce you to the God of High School.
やるか。
The Battle Royale is one of the most unhinged battles in the entire show. This isn't some scripted one-on-one duel, it's a full-scale free-for-all where every fighter is pushing their limits to become a living legend. You get a taste of what every real contender is packing, but the real showstoppers of this battle are our main trio Jin Mori, Han, and Mira. Like, these guys don't even need to try. One swing and the small fries are out of here. But what truly stands out is the intensity of the competitors themselves. If you blink, you might just miss a contest-defining moment that cements these warriors as legends, and the animation in this fight scene is nothing short of jaw-dropping. This is Mappa at its most unhinged, delivering high-octane sequences that look like they were ripped straight out of a fighting game. If you haven't watched it, go do yourself a favor and check it out now. Sliding into another visually hypnotic face-off, we've got Rogue versus Purgatory Viola from Metallic Rouge. This is the kind of fight that only Studio Bones could pull off, you know. This fight plays like a high-fashion mech opera, blood-red skies, cyberpunk flair, and music so dramatic it could resurrect Beethoven. It's only episode 1, but it hits with the weight of a final boss battle. Animation-wise, Studio Bones really delivered. With sharp zoom-ins, bold color shifts, and dramatic camera angles, the fight feels fast and intense. The final punch that Rogue delivered is just beautiful. Viola's slow collapse is framed like a tragic painting, making the whole scene feel emotional and unforgettable. I absolutely love how this fight sold people on the series before they even understood the plot. That's the power of audio-visual storytelling. If you're into that femme fatale vibe, you really need to check this one out. The next fight on our list rarely gets the spotlight, but honestly hits way harder than most people realize. It's Yu versus Hummingbat in Spriggan. See, Yu is this super soldier with reflexes that are better than most main characters, and Hummingbat is a sniper ninja hybrid who uses echolocation and silence like a deadly art. Before we even got to the main event, Yu's already causing destruction. He takes on an entire squad of US soldiers like he's walking through a Call of Duty mission on veteran difficulty, and in the main event, Hummingbat doesn't even stand a chance. When you have Yu as your opponent, consider yourself dead in seconds. The real crime is that barely anyone talks about this fight scene, maybe because it's Spriggan dropped quietly on Netflix, or maybe it's the CG anime bias, but this scene goes harder than half the mainstream fights in the last decade. If you missed that gem, you better fix it. Now, let's jump on to the next entry. Here comes a good one. We have a fight from Recreators that just goes insane. It's a showdown that feels like an anime fight and more like the entire concept of storytelling exploding on screen. You see, Altair is a walking fanfiction god fueled by endless imagination and unrestrained creativity. In this battle, she doesn't fight fair. She warps reality, conjures power on the fly, and absolutely bullies the other characters like she's speedrunning her own multiverse. Visually, it's stunning. Studio Troika gives us layers upon layers of magical effects and fluid animation that look like moving paintings. Altair's violin gun moment alone is an anime legend, and don't even get me started on Sawano's soundtrack. This thing had no business hitting that hard. It's the kind of finale that feels like an anime's entire budget and heart were poured into one sequence. Sure, it's underrated, but definitely unforgettable.